I'd like to talk about the last frontier, Africa, the development of the Ruby engineer. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Hiroyoshi Noro. I started up in 2015 to dive into code, and then I started to provide the opportunity for the employment and also education of IT globally, and started the development program for the IT engineer. In 2016, I talked about the 3 steps to become engineer who can earn, and 2019 I talked about a Ruby programmer which can work globally. And also it is possible to find this video and on internet, and you can see how I have traveled in my life up until today. 2019 I went to Rwanda in Africa, deciding to introduce a Ruby there. I went there and in translating the Japanese textbook into English, and I supported them online. And 3% graduated from the program, and they are hired as mentors, and they are structuring the organization in Africa. In addition to that, in my experience of the operating the program in school in Japan, I think it was possible to provide the same opportunity in the very adverse situation. I would like to solve the problems of the scarcity of the IT human resources in Japan, and also the access to the vocational training in Africa and the employment matching. First of all, the human resource scarcity in Japan is getting more difficult every year, and we will have the scarcity of 790,000 in 2030. In addition to those who are involved in development, but we have the insufficiency chronically of the human resources who are in charge of the education. Secondly, unemployment rate in Africa, particularly for the younger people, are very severe, from the 3.0% to 29.1%. Average is 14.2%. Particularly, the situation is bad in South Africa, as high as 29.1%. This is about 10 times of the Japanese unemployment rate. They don't have the opportunity, and there's so many younger people who would like to have the opportunity to work, and the work with the computer is not so popular in Africa, and therefore the IT work and the computer are available, and these young people in Africa would like to work in the IT sector. And then I hope that we can take advantage of the situation so that we can have more human resources of the IT area in Japan. Now you are looking at the proposal for the solution. 120 million people live in Japan, but the population is declining in this country, and particularly the university students and the people in the society can receive IT education so as to be efficient. And there are so many people who want to learn as well. And the teachers and those who support the educational opportunity are lacking. On the other hand, in Africa, the population is 1.21 billion. The population is increasing into the future, and therefore it is very important to have the program to develop human resources who can work in the IT sector, and I'd like to come up with a solution for the problem. And we have actually implemented some of the programs. I'd like to introduce that, and into the future in Japan, the digital information reform and revitalization is going on. Therefore, we would like to contribute to the infrastructure To be more specific, now there's a barrier of the languages. Learn in Japanese and learn from the Japanese persons. Actually, this is a common sense in Japan, but I decided to use a machine translation going over the barriers of the different languages, and we can learn now mutually. The real-time translation is under process of the verification, and for instance, the Japanese people can be supported by the English speaking. There is a subtitle in English real time, therefore it is possible to communicate. We are verifying the function of this. And also the text-based translation is actually realized, and if you put a question in writing, and then the answer will come back in the document in a written form. And therefore, the Japanese persons can support the members in Africa. Now, this is the foundation for this program and the services. The WOBM is the multi-language service in Africa. The English and the Arabs and Portuguese and the French are incorporated into this woven multilingual services and put into the text. Therefore, exactly the same the task and exactly the same textbook can be used. Therefore, the Senegalese and the Rwandese can learn in the same way. In North Africa, their official languages different. For instance, French-speaking, the people can learn from other members in Africa with a different official language area, and this is supported by the Senegalese and the Rwandese. These are members supporting this program. We want to expand further into the future. Our program is adopted as a JICA. Some of them adopted by the JICA and the Benin and the AOTS. And these are the programs to promote the human resources in overseas countries, and there's a subsidy for that. And we provide the services and program of the Ruby, the engineer education development, the programs. And so we'd like to be able to produce something that can be shared. Now, the system for implementation on-site conversational support is done by Japanese persons. And then, on the other hand, the document and written form support is done by Senegalese and Rwandese on an online basis. This is a basic system in which who are the people, particularly in Africa. There is an initiative called Abe Initiative by Japanese Foreign Ministry and JICA, and this is the program for the study abroad, and we welcome the excellent the Africans to Japan to study here, and then they go back to their respective countries to contribute locally, and about 9 persons added to this list. And they are Rwandese and working in this organization. I would like to share with you the tangible results that we can obtain. First of all, Japanese the trainees are supported by the mentors who are Senegalese and Rwandese, and using the text communication, it is possible to overcome the barriers of the different languages. For instance, the Senegal French and Rwanda English are the official languages, and these are supported online basis. And then they would share the tasks and the questions, and the responses would come back. Therefore, DeepL is used, and Google Translate is used for the machine translation. English is translated into Japanese in this way because they cannot speak Japanese, but the translation is not that precise. Therefore, reverse translation is done for the verification, and the processes are repeated in order to attain optimum communication, and also human-based learning is added, like the list of phrases, the expressions, Japanese expressions are accumulated in this collection of the phrases and put into the feedback of this translation. And NPS, that is an indicator of the satisfaction from the client. In April, 7.34. In October, in the 6 months, it increased to 8.68. It increased by 1.3 points. And now, 90% of the online service is done by them. Secondly, this example of the Benin Republic, together with the local partner companies and the Senegalese and the Rwandese members, develop human resources as a Ruby engineer who are from Benin. And they produced the products, and they produce the result, which is a very high quality. For instance, the Challenge Day, online programming contents platform, Africa Shop, this is African products, and this is the sales of the African products, and the last one is Learn Better, and this is kind of advice. And Burkina Faso, this is next to Benin, and there is the lecture series based upon the donation. And this is a lecture to develop Ruby engineers. And after the completion, we select and hire these people. And there will be the persons who would create the opportunity of learning for those people who want to be the Ruby engineer. There are about 50 people, and this is the picture of the orientation. And the vice director of the Joseph Gizelf University mentioned that he would like to provide the web engineering knowledge and the skill to the selected the students. And also, His Excellency Kato, the ambassador to Burkina Faso, mentioned that this is a very important the opportunity for the job creation in Africa. And this will lead to the development of the services, and he has a great expectation. And finally, I'd like to talk about example in Japan. Now, this is a connection between Japanese and local languages. As I mentioned, there is the on-site support on Zoom, and the diver online support is given by the African employees. In addition to that, we are verifying the function of the real-time the translation, the interpretation. For instance, there's a subtitle in English as an on-site support so that they can communicate instantaneously. And with this, we will create the opportunity for work and learn, expand the RubyWorld so that we can evolve the world of Ruby. IT education is global, and there is a growing needs in Africa, and Ruby is the language that we can enjoy writing, and we would like to continue this. The same thing can be said in Africa and Japan, and we can transcend the barrier of the language using the machine learning and the human learning, and we can continue to improve the quality, and the possibility of the human is global, and this is quite important because this is a matter of the opportunity. If you have opportunity, you can do it. If not, the situation is otherwise. So through this activity, the new possibility will appear, and this will create opportunity for further learning and working. So I talked about around the theme of Africa. If you want to know more about Africa, please let me know. And toward the community of the Ruby, we would like to continue to deploy the result of our activity for the improvement of the opportunity in Africa. Thank you very much.